Donald Trump, Mark Zuckerberg, Knuckles the Echidna. You might be asking yourself why I decided to start the video with these three names. Well, they all have one thing in common. They all transitioned from legend to meme. But there is a way back to that legendary status. And Knuckles? He knows the way.
I am a rebel without a cause.
For throughout the decades, Knuckles has taken a back seat in every Sonic game. He is a protector, the last of a dying line, the final son of the Echidna clan, and it is his solemn duty to protect the Master Emerald at all costs. It is the emerald that controls all the Chaos Emeralds, after all. However, this almighty jewel is rarely touched upon within the actual games. Knuckles is usually happy to leave his sacred post to help out his furry, wet dream friends. But today, we're going to take a closer look at Knuckles, for within this abnormally pointy-handed individual lies a lesson, an understanding that has been miscomprehended for decades. Though he is but a mere secondary character, this dreadlocked wannabe flying squirrel has more to him than meets the eye. His past, his history, is a reflection of something hidden just beneath the surface. A ripple in the water of time that, if we just allow it to settle, will grant us sight to the bottom of his mind. And there, at the core of Knuckles' being, we'll finally be able to comprehend his journey for what it really is. A message for us. So if you're ready for that, then join me as we unravel Knuckles' past, and with it, our future. The future. To uncover a deeper understanding of Knuckles, we must first know his past. For Knuckles is easily one of the most depressing characters in the Sonic franchise. He was born alone and raised on Angel Island, a floating plot of land that maintains its airborne location due to the powers of the Master Emerald. However, that wasn't always the case. Over 4,000 years ago, the island was part of the Mystic Ruins, a city that was run by the Knuckles clan. However, Pachacamac, the clan chieftain, attempted to remove the Chaos Emeralds for himself in an effort to expand his empire. In the process, he killed or injured many of the Chao that attempted to defend the altar. This act of violence angered the Chao's guardian Chaos, who then killed Pachacamac for his heinous actions. Chaos then used the 7 Chaos Emeralds to evolve into Perfect Chaos, and proceeded to wipe out nearly the entire Knuckles clan. But before Chaos could destroy everything, Tikal, Pachacamac's daughter, sealed him away with the Master Emerald. The resulting energy backlash ripped the fragment of land from the ground and caused it to float in the sky, where it has remained ever since. The remaining echidnas were hoisted up into the sky with the island. They took up the role of guardians of the Master Emerald to ensure no such destruction could ever happen again. But in the present day, Knuckles is the sole survivor of the clan. And so the story of Knuckles begins as a tale of loneliness. And yet, despite this incredible history and sad existence, the Sonic games rarely incorporate the Master Emerald like they do with the Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles' portion of history takes a backseat to Sonic's, since the blue blur can harness the power of Chaos to do incredible feats. In fact, if the Master Emerald is in a game at all, it is usually because Eggman is attempting to steal it. This happens many times, but the most notable ones gameplay-wise come from the Sonic Adventure series. In both Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, the Master Emerald is broken, fragmented once by Eggman to release Chaos, and once by Knuckles to keep Rouge from stealing it. In both games, Knuckles must then journey across various locations to retrieve the pieces of the Master Emerald and put it back together. This is what I want to focus on, for this is where the lesson of Knuckles the Echidna truly lies. You see, the Master Emerald, the Emerald Shards, the searching and finding of each shard to make the emerald whole again isn't just a gameplay mechanic. It's a lesson about Knuckles and his existence. And dare I say, our existence? It's a metaphor, and an intense one at that. Knuckles has one goal, to protect the Master Emerald, and yet he can't accomplish that goal without breaking it into pieces, without breaking it, and then collecting those pieces all over again. He must do this multiple times throughout his journey in the Sonic games. This destruction of a goal, breaking it into pieces and then collecting those pieces, shows a deeper understanding of life than we generally give Knuckles credit for. Knuckles is such a background background character with such a ridiculous form that we generally don't think about the things he's had to go through, the mental trauma that comes from being a lone guardian, the stress that must come with protecting the Master Emerald, and the feeling of complete failure that overcomes him when he fails in that duty. Yet, we never see Knuckles stray from this quest, even when the Master Emerald is broken. This shows an understanding of how to achieve one's goals. Most of us wouldn't destroy the one thing we're determined to protect most in this world. But Knuckles understands that a singular goal doesn't define how your life plays out. The facets that make up that goal do. Just as the shards of the emerald can recreate the whole, the shards of our overarching goal can create the life we want. It isn't as simple as going from point A to point B. Between where we are now and where we want to be is an unending labyrinth of checkpoints, of things that must be completed, of smaller goals that must be achieved before we get to our final destination. These smaller accomplishments are represented by the shards Knuckles must find. Each is an analogy for a checkpoint on his journey to protect the Master Emerald. This is the lesson behind Knuckles and his quest. No life goal is simple, but if we break apart our lifelong goals and focus on collecting the shards that we create, then the whole can be achieved. Too often we feel failure if we achieve what we want and then that endgame is suddenly taken away from us. We feel like we aren't worthy of trying again because we had already achieved what we wanted and then we lost it. We see this in every aspect of our lives. We feel it when we're in love and we get our heart broken by the person we cared for. That feeling of not being able to love again, of not being good enough. That feeling that we lost our only chance at what we wanted is unbearably common and we let it cripple us. We wonder if we're incapable of loving anyone else, or if anyone else will ever be capable of loving us again. We give up on our dreams because we think our chance is over. We feel this same crippling idea in our work when we get that job that we wanted and then it turns out to not be what we thought it was. When the boss is a fuckhead or your coworkers suck. When you worked so hard to get where you are and nothing seems to have ended up right. When you did everything to get into a profession you wanted and it turns out completely wrong for you. We're afraid to start over, afraid to fail again. But these stops along the road of life aren't failures, they're checkpoints to where we will eventually end up. Knuckles gets this. He understands that breaking apart the Master Emerald doesn't mean he has truly failed. It's just a checkpoint along his path to his ultimate goal. He isn't afraid to start over, because starting over doesn't mean your dream is dead. It just means it's waiting further along for you in the future. In your life, in all our lives, we have ideas for the future, things we want to do, to create, to become. For some of us, it's traveling the world. For others, it's becoming a doctor or a lawyer. For some, it's to fall in love and have a family, or any other combination of things. But these goals, starting a family, having the career you want, exploring the world, they all are far more complex than we ever believe starting out. But does that mean you give up if you don't pass the bar? If you don't get into that school you want? If that person you thought you'd spend the rest of your life with turns out to be wrong for you? No, you figure out what the next shard of your life is and focus on finding it. We all have dreams, we all have things we want out of life, but far too often those dreams feel unattainable, far above what we're capable of. So break your dream apart and begin collecting the pieces that make up the whole. Each piece is a stepping stone towards the life you want, and it's all possible if you just follow the path of Knuckles, for he knows the way.
My queen.
Break apart your goals and gather the shards of your life, and nothing will stop you from achieving your dreams. And that's my take on Knuckles. He's been trending on YouTube for unrelated reasons, so I thought I'd add my own spin to the mix without doing memes. I'm Grant, and this was another episode of The Message You Missed. Pretty deep stuff, huh? But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Was it inspiring? Was it cheesy? Was it somewhere in between? Maybe it was just interesting and informative, not only about the Knuckles canon, but also about your own life. So yeah, let me know down below. Besides that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you get notified as soon as we post a video. Once again, I'm Grant, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone!